All right, let's use this piece of paper again because we don't want to be wasteful. Even though it's got scribbles on it, it's not that much scribble, right? Let's not be wasteful.
Electromagnets, and yes, more electromagnets.
All right, well, this is the electromagnet we made last time, right? You want to unwind it, take the wire back off. Maybe we can use that wire again. Don't poke yourself in the eye with it, or me. Careful with this flinging around in here.
Just pick the bolt out of it.
Well, yeah, but you got to straighten it all out. We need that wire.
Slinky.
Okay. That's not how you... All right. Look at you doing everything the slow, easy way. You got to get it straight. We're going to have to make a coil out of this if we're going to make a motor, right?
Get the go gas, which is the D battery.
All right. So here's our wire. You want the D battery.
That's
C
our gas.
battery. I think a C battery would work just fine. All right. So what we got? We got a Play-Doh container. Any cup will work, though, right?
You might as well use the right battery.
All right. I got a magnet in here, and this magnet up here is what's going to actually turn our motor, right? So the first thing the motor needs, we have one apart right here, right?
Get the coil of wire it turns on.
Well, this is what happens in a motor, right? So this is the rotor, and this is outside of it. So this becomes an electromagnet, right?
And this is
like
where
this.
the electricity contacts.
That's a conductor, yeah. So what happens is it changes the polarity of the electricity and it spins it. We can kind of do that here. So what we need to do is we need to make a rotor. So we're going to take this wire. We're going to wrap it around our fingers a little bit. That might be too big. Let's make it smaller. We need something to wrap around. It's the other Play-Doh container. What do you think? It's not very round. This will make it work, right?
Make it work, make it work.
Make it work. And we'll wrap this around until it makes a big circle. That. And we'll slide it off of there, holding it round. And we want this wire to wrap around here to tie it off, right? This might not be stiff enough wire. We'll have to see. It's pretty floppy. We might need some stiffer wire. We'll see. Shouldn't weigh that much, right? Alright. What we've done is we've kind of, if I can get the wire go the rest of the way, we made a coil. Right? All this wire coils around.
Which is what they use as the rotor.
Right. And it'll rotate, hopefully, like this. It might be stronger. It probably could be a little stronger wire, but we'll see if we can make it work. Problem is, we need these wires to be bare. We don't want any insulation on them, right?
I can't bear it.
So I need to... silly jokes. Dad jokes are my thing, right? Alright, let's see if we can find something to strip that wire off.
They're kind of my thing, because I almost learned more.
You think you learn more with the stupid jokes?
Yeah.
Alright, well I got some options here to strip this wire off. I don't have any wire strippers down here. They're up in your electrical box, right? So we have these, which would be nice to cut it, but they won't strip it very good. We have this, which is very dangerous, and then we have this, which is pretty sharp. We'll see if we can get it with this.
Ah, there's a ball in my neck!
I can't see that. Calm down, bud. Slow down. Alright, let's see if we can get this to...
That looks like still the most dangerous tool in the shop.
Yeah, it's pretty dangerous. Yeah, it's a sharp, right? Anything that's sharp.
You know what? Before you kill yourself, let me go get the strippers.
Well, that would be handy. You want me to pause it?
Yeah.
The last time you went to go get something, it took forever.
Now don't kill yourself with these either, goofhead.
Well, these were in my toolbox for a while, right? And then they somehow moved. That's alright, I don't use them very often. I think you use them more than I do, right? Let's see if we can get that all bare. Nice, shiny wire. We gotta make sure our coil doesn't get bent out of shape though, right?
I like copper.
Copper's pretty.
Especially the Duracell copper.
And a copper top, that's just paint. Alright, so now we got our wires.
Copper is a lot prettier.
We got our wires bare. This is our rotor. So theoretically, it'll spin something like thusly, right? So we need something to set it on.
We don't mean a plain rotor, silly heads. We mean like a motor rotor. The thing that spins around until you're in a trance.
Alright, so we're going to cut off a piece of this wire. Don't call people silly heads, but that's not nice. Alright, but we need this to be bare too to hold our rotor, right? So we're going to try get some of that stripped off too. Alright, so what we need...
shot off like a dart in a Nerf gun.
You know, what we need is a hook. Like that. to hold our rotor, right? And that'll be fine. Last time you tried this, though, what was the problem we had?
I wasn't stripping all the insulation because you couldn't see
Well, there was that, but there was another issue that we had when we tried to hook this to the battery. What was that issue?
The rotor stands kept on turning.
They kept turning like this, right?
So and they're binding up the motor, and we use this exact same battery.
So this time, let's make sure that doesn't work. It doesn't happen. So let's take our wire like this, and then when we tape it on here, look what happens. Now, when I move this wire, it doesn't change my rotor hanger, right? So that'll be a lot easier, right? So let's tape that in spot. We could use electrical tape, but this will work. It'll work just fine, right? It's not really insulating anything. It's just holding it in place. So.
Never, ever use a metal container, or else it'll ground out, shocking everyone in your house.
It's a 1.5 volts. I don't think it's a serious risk, but
it's direct current, and doesn't direct current hurt?
Well, high voltages of it. That's a 1.5 volts. You're technically shorting it out when you do this. Doesn't hurt, right? It's not enough voltage to really matter. Actually, current would be the issue.
So you're actually giving yourself a good voltage boost to keep yourself...
You can't tell at all. I think that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I should have stripped that other end there before I did this, shouldn't I?
So it's short-circuiting through my fingers?
Kind of, yeah. You know how if you use your multimeter, you can test it by putting on your fingers, and it'll go from open lead to connected? Same thing, only you don't notice it because it's only 1.5 volts.
This battery, when I tested it, it went straight to 1.5.
So it's a good battery, all right?
Freaking good battery.
All right, we got that stand. We're going to adjust it here. Hopefully these are strong enough to hold our rotor. All right, we got to do the same thing on this one. We don't want this one to turn either, so I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to bend it into a little shape so that when I tape it on, it doesn't twist. Because that was really annoying last time, right?
Really annoying.
All right, so hold this. I'll get some more tape.
Nom, 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 I eat insulation.
Hey, can't see you. Nom, nom, nom.
I eat insulation. Give me some right now.
All right, I'm going to tape this on opposite the other one, right? And they're not straight yet, but that's okay. We'll adjust them.
We'll adjust them.
Tape those on. Such a nice tape. Look how good job I did. It's pretty messy. It's all right. We don't care. All right, you want to get these straight. And the idea is, hopefully, well, we have to spread them out. Uh-oh, I need to go up higher. Look, we're hitting. Or maybe I can go out wider.
Squish your rotor.
Maybe I can go out wider and make room.
Look how good of a job you did on the motor.
Well, it's a lot of fidgeting, right? We'll keep fidgeting until we get it
Everyone knows
straight.
I didn't really mean it.
And then you just go out farther and taller. All right, taller up. Raise it up. I'm getting rid of my bend I put in there, though. Pretty soon they'll start to rotate on us, and that won't be good. We don't want that.
No, don't rotate.
We're getting there.
The rotor sits right on there.
Yeah, we need to get it open up farther.
Does the rotor have to be circular?
Well, it has to be a coil. It can be oval. It can be square. And if you look at what did you do with the motor parts we had? This motor part, there's more than one circle, right? So this would have had two, one on each side, right? And then if you look in here, if you really looked in here, you'd see there's a bunch of circles in there. So there's a bunch of coils in there. Not just one, there's a bunch. We're just making one.
Have a seat, little rotor.
All right, what do you think? Let's get her lower. Get our tape in there. Maybe we'll add another piece of tape just because I moved everything, right? We don't want it all to move, so let's add another piece of tape to make sure nothing gives. Tape it in there really good. We don't want anything to move. All right. This one's a little high, isn't it? You gonna hit? Yeah, maybe a little bit higher on this side. Want it to be pretty even. It'd be nice if it was balanced, but we don't really have a good balance going on here, do we? Let's see if we can get it. It does spin. We don't want it to go on this insulation like it just did though, right? Let me wrap one more wrap around it here. Our insulation is touching. We don't want that. When it rolls on there, we don't want it to get on that white insulation. We want it to stay on the bare copper, right? All right, now it should stay on. Whoop, let's get it. It needs to spin a little more evenly, but
Time.
all right, let's see if we can adjust it so these are straight across.
Time to turn the top.
Not yet. You need to get somewhat balanced, because the better it's balanced, the better it'll easier it'll be to spin, right? All right, still not very balanced, but we're going to have to go with it and see if we can get it to work. It's not balanced very good. This might not work out very good for us. We need to be balanced good. I'm not making it better either. I think I'm making it worse.
And we put the bolt through the neck. Shrink.
All right.
Time to give like relation life.
No. Do you think it'll work right now? If we hook electricity to it, it's going to turn this into an electromagnet, right? And what we've got is we've got that magnet there, and this will become an electromagnet. And if we do that, they should push each other or draw each other together like this bolt, right? So we made the electromagnet. Remember, this would pull stuff together. Like this, it would pull it towards each other. Or if we reverse the polarity, if I had another magnet, it could push it apart, right? So what it's going to do is when we charge this coil up, it's going to make an electromagnet. And it's going to interfere with this magnet, and they should fight each other, right? But in order to keep them fighting each other, we only want this coil to touch in half of the rotation. So we're going to use this, and we're going to color these. I'm going to put some marker on here, and that will keep it from touching the copper. Not for very long, it'll wear off, right? But initially, it should keep that from getting contact.
So
and
it should
hopefully
go bim, bim, bim.
really
bim,
fast
bim,
though, right?
bim.
So it'll do it really fast. It'll go hopefully really fast, right?
Time to give my creation life. And now we add the bolt through the neck.
Through the neck. It's not Frankenstein. You ain't even seen Frankenstein. How do you know about Frankenstein?
Because he always like, time to give my creation life.
Who is like that?
The guy who created Frankenstein.
Oh, is that on cartoons?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that book. Someday you can read the real book. Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley wrote that book. It's a good book.
It is.
One of my favorite books, yeah. Alright, so we're going to get power. And right now it's doing nothing. But hopefully... Almost. There it goes.
Look at it go. A plane's taking flight.
If we had it more balanced, like see how it's trying to cheat over this way? If we had it more balanced, it would run better. Maybe if I lower this one.
Like a 41 is going...
Like the 41 truck? We just made a motor.
I can even hear it going... Gling, 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 gling.
We just made a motor. That's pretty cool, right? Oh, I crashed it. Let's try to get it going again.
It's like crashing a lathe.
Kind of, not quite. So we made a motor, and that's how this works. This gets charged with this voltage, and that's what these commutators do, right? They transfer the voltage, but see all these little breaks? That interrupts the voltage, just like our marker did, right? And what happens is it goes ta, 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 ta. And every time it does it, it turns this just a little bit. But if you put that many in there, it goes vroom, really fast, right?
How come more motors go usually, not just gling, 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 gling?
Because look how many times it changes the voltage. We're doing it twice, like each half, right? So half of that, it's going around and it's hitting the marker and it's cutting the voltage off. This, look at all these commutator spaces. Each one of these coils is like that coil, and they alternate. So they just go one after another all the way around. So it's firing off each of these in turn with this electromagnet, and then they just sit there and go, Mom! There's also a constant direct current, the DC permanent magnet, which is kind of what we built here. It's a permanent magnet, because this magnet's permanent, right?
It was in a jigsaw, so it probably goes...
But that magnet's permanent, right? So this one doesn't have permanent magnets, has two electromagnets. So the two electromagnets work against each other to make this spin. We used a permanent magnet. That's how electric motors work. That's how your scooter works.
Still going?
That's how your scooter works.
Is that? And he means the green one that goes fast, not the broken down.
Well, we got
ones.
2 scooters. The green one's the only one that works, though, right?
Yep.
That's how it works. Your motor, you put electricity to that motor when you turn the throttle, and then it makes the motor go vroom, and it pushes you, right?
And if you add a pot, it would go.
That's a really loud noise you're making. All right. How long do you think it'll go?
Until we run out of gas.
I think until it runs that marker off. Remember we covered one side with marker? Eventually the friction will rub that marker off because all we did is put marker on it. And when that does it, it won't have that lull anymore. It won't have that dead spot. And once that dead spot goes away, then the magnet won't change. It'll just stay magnetized and it'll stop, I think. That might take a while. It looks like it's going pretty good, right? It's a pretty good marker.
It is a king size. Draw, partner, and let's have some lightsabers.
Plus it's moving, so it's not rubbing on the same spot. If you watch it, it's kind of wiggling around a little bit. It might take a while. That's pretty cool.
But this is basically just a motor.
Oh, the hooks, okay.
And there's the rotor, which...
The rotor which goes across the top of the hooks. Lots of coils of wire.
And here's the battery.
And the battery hooks are the hooks, right? So make sure you got because that's where the power is coming from. To come those hooks we got hanging on, right? There you go. Because it looks like it's just hanging on, but it's not. Those hooks are what's giving us the voltage.
And here's the top of the cup and the little tiny magnet.
Amperage, right? It's hooking our battery to it. And that's the cup.
Magnet.
Which is just a plain old Play-Doh cup, right? We could have used a styrofoam cup or a red plastic cup. Could have used anything. Just has to have it something that'll hold it up and a magnet can sit on it, right? And we got 2 magnets. The one underneath it you can't see is inside there. That just makes that a little stronger magnet, right? Because the stronger the magnet, I think the easier it's going to work.
I might add one under here.
Yeah.
This is the top magnet, which is pretty small because I didn't want to touch the rotor.
2 magnets, right?
Yep.
You could probably do it with 1 magnet, but also it helps that magnet stay in place. Because if we didn't have 2 magnets, every time I touch this, that magnet could have slid off the top, and that would have been one more thing to deal with, right? But 2 magnets makes it stay in place. It's going pretty good, man. I'm impressed.
Now we just put a bigger battery on it.
You did good work, man. How much of that did you do? I should have made you make the coils, right? Bigger battery?
Yep. G. Go gas.
Go gas.
And we add the... Come on. Positive, negative.
Ah, because you gotta, has to go around, right?
Positive, negative.
Gotta have a circuit. And that's what's happening. Our circuit goes through that coil, right?
And
happening.
that's the big battery, and then there's a small battery.
In series?
Yeah, so it goes from this battery to this battery.
Okay, remember what happens when you hook batteries up in series?
It uses a bit of charge from both.
Right, so the voltage doubles, where it adds up, right? So if we had 2 of these batteries, we have this battery. If I had 2 of those together, put these both in there, we don't get 1.5 anymore if they're hooked up in a series.
We get 10.5.
What's 1.5, 1.5?
2.5.
Close. Add them separately, watch. You got 1.5, 1.5. Instead of trying to guess, add these 2 together first. You get 2, and what's half and half?
2.
Half and half.
Whole. A whole.
So you get 3.
3 wholes.
So anytime you hook them up in series, if you hook them up in parallel, it doesn't work that way.
And then we put a car battery here. Then it's from series to parallel.
Yours might actually be, that drawing might be more parallel. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It stopped. I don't think it ran the insulation off though. I think it just crashed. I think it vibrated over till the rubber touched. So it turns this way. What do you think happens if I try to turn it the other way?
If you reverse the polarity, it'll turn in reverse.
I wonder if it'll turn the other way too. Let's stop it and find out. It's starting to get a little wobbly anyway because our wires are getting bent, right? Let's see. No, it only goes one way. You see it try to go the other way and then stop? It only goes one way.
And we put a car battery
Rubbing pretty good
here.
though. Look at it rubbing. Let me see if I can get it to balance. Come on over here. Nope, it won't go. It keeps wanting to get over there and rub the insulation. What we should have done is put little knots on the end of the wire so it can't go over that far, you reckon? If they were balanced, dead even, it wouldn't do that. But they're not.
I even added a car battery, a D battery, and a C.
A car battery, huh? So when you talk about parallel, if we have batteries, right?
Mm-hmm. It goes from series to parallel.
Well, yeah, I think you got to draw in parallel. If we went series, they'd be like this, right? We'd have a wire that goes in this way and they come out there, and that way it goes through both batteries, right? Mm-hmm. You, I think, actually have them wired parallel because you had them hooked up like this and then out, right? Mm-hmm. So that changes things. So
but
I don't think yours.
There's a car battery here going through all three
so you got
of
both going on. All right. Mm-hmm. So I think you got both series and parallel. It's hard to see.
Series and parallel.
Your scribbles are almost as bad as my scribbles.
3 go gas.
3 go gases, huh?
Which means 3 times the power.
3 times the power?
I guess car batteries do have a lot more voltage. But it's something like a lawnmower battery, you know, right?
Alright. That's really going.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's been going for like 40 minutes.
Oh, long enough to bore the people watching this video, I bet. Think we ought to go do something else. Let's go get lunch.